Hey, good morning, fellow YouTubers. It is a wonderful Saturday morning. Not quite as sunny as it has been at times recently, but it's very nice all the same. And it's good riding temperature for wearing a little bit of safety gear. I always kind of prefer it to be in the 60s versus like the 80s, because in the 80s I'm going to wear a t-shirt. And I'd rather have some level of safety. Speaking of which, I got my full face helmet today, and just for the cold, more than anything, makes a big difference, keeping those ears warm and your face. But the reason I wanted to talk to you guys today is just the windscreen. So, not anything to do with macho or old biker or tough guy. Just talking about windscreens and what they can offer you, and maybe one or two drawbacks. So, just this morning I was watching one of Chuck Gines's old videos. It was I forget the name of it, but it's the one where he goes to the calderas in New Mexico and he holds down a campground waiting for an MC. And he's just got it's great because old Chuck Giant videos, he's got a lot of enthusiasm. He's enjoying it, and he's really kind of bringing out the feeling that we all have taking a nice adventure on a motorcycle. So he had, in that video, back in those days, he had the full screen with, like right here, his little coffee holder. And he had 2 water bottles shoved up in the screen and I think a little leather case. And then last weekend, maybe some of you saw it, I went down and visited Jerry Cantana down at Cook's Corner. And he had the same setup. So he had a coffee container on the left, a little leather pouch right up in the front against the screen. And then he had his little setup for his phone on the handlebars. And it's kind of nice, right? It's like a car. You got a full dashboard with amenities available to you to use at your disposal. So the only time I've ever had a screen was on my Kawasaki Vulcan Mean Streak. Look at this guy. He's on a Kawasaki and he just keeps coming through this churn over and over. He's got one of those smaller Ninjas. They made some Ninjas that were like 250s. It might be that small, I'm not sure. But so I had that. It was a screen. It was kind of a mid-sized screen. I also had a fly screen on my Triumph Bonneville, but you can't really, that's just more for looks than anything. But the mid-sized screen that I had on my Vulcan was really easy to detach within a couple minutes. But I ended up not really using it that much. I only really used it when I took that thing down to Mexico twice and San Diego a couple times, and I would take it on those kinds of trips. But before I bought that screen, I drove that thing all the way out to the Grand Canyon and back with no screen. And so like on this motorcycle now, so if I'm going to go long distance on the highway, I got this backrest and a full face helmet. I don't even really miss a screen. But if I was driving even longer distance, maybe up into Canada and back or something really nice like that, why not have a full screen, right? It just makes the whole riding experience more comfortable when you're traveling at high speeds, long distance. Because everyone knows motorcycle, there's fatigue. Fatigue sets in much quicker than driving in a car. In a car you just get tired of sitting. But on a motorcycle, you're you're holding on, you're using a lot more concentration. So it's a lot different on a motorcycle. But I do prefer, like, you know, I have this half helmet here for the cold, but if it was a warmer day, I have my full face on for today, but if it was a warmer day, I'd have my half helmet on because that's what I enjoy the most. I do enjoy the feeling of just kind of being out in the atmosphere as opposed to being separated. So, cars referred to as cagers, for a reason. It's because they're kind of blocked into that environment and not the outdoor environment. And a screen is a little bit of a step in that direction. You feel a little bit more separated, especially if you have a full face helmet on. So my preferred way to drive is no screen, half helmet, sunglasses. But, why not? If it's cold or traveling long distance, cold, wear full face, long distance. If you got a screen, might as well throw that puppy on there. So, I just wanted to kind of talk about that because, just removing our egos from that decision, our what an old school biker is or any of those things, just kind of looking at it just from the standpoint of its utility and usefulness versus anything else. And so they have their place in motorcycles. I don't think it has much to do with tough guy or old school biker. I think it has a lot more to do with just experimenting with what works for the different scenarios. So on that note, have a good day.